Yeah, we are tax and we are tax and accountant advisors. We mainly work we are based in Italy, Milan, and we mainly work with mid to large size company. So this is not ESG is not our core business, but it's a new topic in which we are spending some energy, some efforts, because this is something that of course is going to affect our typical clients, companies, but also is a change of mindset that is gonna affect everybody, and this is why we have this presentation today. So this is an overview we would like to give about the ESG topic. We will try to be as fast as possible and synthetic, but the main scenario is the world today and the limit to the growth. The global population, as you probably are aware, increased in the past year and is going to reach 10 billion by 2055. There is in the same time, there's been a global wealth increase about 10 times, and what is going to happen that following this continuing increase in global wealth, it's estimated that the use of resources will double between 2015 and 2050. So there is, of course, a logical and subsequential depletion of non-renewable natural resources. During this growth of population and global wealth increase, the non-renewable resources of energy steadily declined, and this is due to the fact that of the linear production up to day used. So in this model of production, resulting from the Industrial Revolution, the resources are extracted, transformed, used, and disposed. And there's not thinking about the consequences of on natural ecosystems and reusability of these resources. So we are moving from this linear economic model, extraction, production, consumption, and disposal. The world is changing, it has to change, there's no choice, I think, to circular economic model, where the raw material, there's previously, the products are designed in order to be reused. You have, of course, the production or remanufacturing, the distribution. There is an important step, usage, reuse and repair, collection, and the big part that has to put in place is the recycling. Circular economy is a cycle of continuous positive development that preserves and enhances natural capital, optimizes resources returns, and minimizes systems risk by managing limited inventories and renewable flows. So we are moving to this, and who is going to say this? That is the World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum is an international organization for public-private cooperation, and the focus of this multinational organization is that the world is changing, and the companies too. The economy is changing from a shareholders model to a stakeholder model. So it's not just the maximization of the profit, but now it's going to be more and more important the impact on all the stakeholders. As you can see from the survey made by the World Economic Forum, in 2007, the world has changed very fast in the past 5 years, in the past 7 years. Previously, the global risks in terms of likelihood and in terms of impact were mainly related to economic and they have changed very quickly to environmental and societal. Of course, all these risks, there's a big interdependence among these risks, but here is the feeling from World Economic Forum, so political, business and cultural leaders, and of course of the population. So here, and this is what is going to affect all the fields, all the industries and all the economy and all the society. We have also an update, a 2022 update related to the evidence of the World Economic Forum. As in 2022, again, we have environmental risks, the most severe risks on a global scale, climate action failure, extreme weather. We can see, well, this year is a particular year, but this is something that affected the US, Africa with the lack of water, Italy, Europe. This is something, biodiversity loss. And then we have societal risks, social cohesion erosion, livelihood crisis, infection diseases, and again, environmental. So economic, that previously was the focus, is now just is not the main risk perceived by the population and by the organization. So this is something that we have to keep in mind also in doing our job, our business, and in order to help our clients to put in place the correct strategy for the future. The new investment trends are also affected by ESG factors, and the main are, of course, climate change, greenhouse effects regarding environment, depletion of resources, including water. This is very important in a lot of production, waste and pollution, deforestation, and social. Of course, there's a more and more important importance on working condition, the impact of local communities, health and safety of the stakeholders, and employee relations. Here is the big thing that all of us are experiencing with the difficulty of finding employees. Then on governance, of course, the governance of the companies and of all the institutions should consider these new priorities in the composition, in the executive compensation, in the abuse of office and bribery, in the long-term goals, let's say. Well, this is just a quick survey made in Italy by an institution, and they say the 83% of the millennials and 77% of women believe that ESG will be increasingly important. And of course, it's higher than the boomer and the previous generation. So Italy, of course, is not probably the most developed nation, but this is something that I think is quite common in Europe and especially in all the world. There's also a consideration of ESG framework in investments, and ESG contributes, of course, to a long-term mindset. The big change is that also the company and the economy is not to be just focused on short term and maximization of the profits, but also on especially on the long term goals. This survey also said that integrated ESG strategy have a positive impact on financial performance, high, medium, and low. So this is also something that can help the companies to have an increase. Here are the SDGs. So those are the goals stated by the United Nations, and the ethical commitment of the companies is entering into the value chain with a sustainable development for the community. There are very important goals, of course, but the most important is the last one, which is partnership for the goals. All together, the world can achieve these important goals. Many companies have already put in place ESG function for a long time, and the goal is to adopt socially responsible behavior for the interest of the stakeholders, but also to seize a competitive advantage and maximize long-term profits. So we think that this is a way that cannot be avoided, and this is also an advantage for the companies and for the clients that can go, that want to go in this direction. The focus of ESG transformation. So there are all these big topics in this, all these big questions: how to report, how should be their decision-making process, what's the right mindset and behaviors. This is something that, of course, should be taken in consideration, and we can put this process. We can think about this process, 3 stages: awareness, skills, and then engagement. So the awareness is, of course, to be compliant with the rules and guidelines, prepare proper reporting shared with the organization, create some individuate KPIs and aspiration and objective in terms of process, integrated decision-making and governance. The skills is, of course, start with the data collection infrastructure for reporting, develop the training program are activated for the employees. Then training programs again into the organization, to each organization to develop this knowledge. ESG integrated into corporate governance and project, and then ESG multi-capital incorporated into performance target and related to remuneration of the governance. And then the last stage is the engagement, in which these things are true into the organization, and the approaches, capabilities, and skills related to the integration of ESG into governance become natural and are reflected in decision, behaviors, processes, business model, and strategies, with a high level of engagement on ESG issues.
Ferruccio,
yeah,
like
are we going too far?
Wrap up.
Pardon, Wisdom.
You have about 1 or 2 more minutes left.
Yeah. We are almost at the end. So ESG is environmental, social, and governance. And regarding governance, the governance, for example, should change in this direction: composition, diversity, and inclusion of professionals that have skills related to these topics: ESG transformation, crisis, turnaround, cross-market, digital, and media. The culture inside the board of directors in the governance should change, with a change of mindset and behaviors. And then, of course, all the processes in which we will all help the clients to develop these topics with stakeholder governance and disclosure, enterprise risk management, of course, is related, the remuneration, the long-term remuneration for the board of directors. This is linked, of course, to the long-term goals that the organization should adopt. Then a board evaluation, board succession guidelines, integrated and sustainability report. This is something we are working on, and we would like to provide to our clients. Affiliation and the induction of site meeting for scenario analysis and long-term strategy and visioning. So as I mentioned at the end, this is something unavoidable, and it is going to be a big change of mindset for the entire world, and especially for the companies that have to react always fast in order to be competitive on the market, and for us in order to help them. So I think that we are at the end. There's two additional. We can send it to you. Is how the European framework is working, and that's all.
Thank you very much, Ferruccio. I know many of you have heard of the topic ESG, and it's a very common discussion point and a new service area. Hopefully, maybe this can be another area where we can all work on together, and not only just Ferruccio himself, but we can also build a team around it to increase our offerings, not just on a local and on our own clients, but on a wider level for clients or future potential clients. I know, William, you're very active in the ESG. We were trying to work on setting up a group within IR. It's moving slowly or not so much. Do you have any thoughts you want to share on the subject?
Thanks, Wissam, and thank you for the presentation. I believe that yes, we can work very much together and help each other in this ESG journey. It's still something new. There are different areas, actually. I mean, so for accountants, there is also the reporting aspect in the financial statements today, which needs to be done in the larger firms, but on I would say a more long-term issue. Companies, maybe today the larger companies, but in the future all companies would need to assess and measure their ESG footprint, their carbon footprint as well, and probably certain suppliers or of larger companies would already need to do it today. And this is something which will require that we work together, because obviously suppliers would be buying in raw material from different countries, the countries that are represented by all of us here, and thus in order to measure their carbon footprint, they would need to assess also the carbon footprint of the particular supplier to them in different countries. So I believe the future is interesting, where we can start building and start also together build a network and start working together in the approach which will come, I would say, in the near future.
Yeah, if I can add, I totally agree with William. We totally agree with William. There is this topic is the green procurement, in which if a big company is required to be sustainable and to prove that, then it will require that to all the suppliers, and the suppliers will require that to the supplier. And fortunately, this is something. This is a topic, and this is a regulation which is international. So I think that finally we can. There is a chance to work all together on international scale, because this is a global topic, a global problem, and it's not just linked to the national regulation in which we are used to work for law or for tax or for accounting. So I'm positive. I do agree with William. Yeah.
Well, great. Does anybody have any other thoughts?
Yes, I'd just like to firstly thank you for the presentation. My understanding of this area is there are many pieces to it, and like diversity, how many members of the board are a certain sector and things like that. And the second issue is that there is no common standard for reporting within countries. And I was wondering whether the MENA group could actually come to some harmonized reporting, not of everything, but of one or two things. And then we would be known as having a credibility with knowing how to report something, be it carbon footprint or something, to try and help the market come to some agreement about what is the right standard.
Well, I hope we can do something like that too, Edward. This is what we did with the DPAN, where Chiara and Catherine here with us on the call are involved. Maybe we can replicate it, but that would need a lot of future planning.